What is going on, everybody? It's Dave in here helping you play creatively. So often one of the questions I receive is, how do I know which inversion to choose when I've discovered the chords of a song? And so today we are going to explore that. Now, there's going to be a caveat to this in that these are some principles for you to go by, not necessarily hard and fast rules that you always have to keep. All right. So I want to say I made that mistake when somebody told me this, and you may also find that, hey, that guy I know, he's really good and he doesn't do this. Well, yes, they are certainly breaking the rule, but I first think you need to know this rule and then you can know how to break it. All right. So how do you know which inversion to choose? We're going to discuss a few things. One is you really need to consider and follow the melody. All right. So let's look at the song At the Cross where I first saw the light. So well, let me play a little bit more advanced chords for you. Anyway, whatever, right? You can still hear the melody within there, okay? Now, what's happening? How am I choosing my inversions? Well, let's look at just, let's say, the first two measures. What I'm doing is, instead of, my first chord is C, but instead of playing C, at the cross, where I first, right? If I have that G on top, that's not really sticking to the melody, and that's not really helpful. So one thing I always try to do is I try to keep the melody on top, right? And it doesn't matter if I add like seventh chords or other extensions. Okay? And then when I get to this A minor chord, I keep the same position, for one, because I'm keeping the melody. So, but also because it is the easiest inversion to get to, right? I don't have to do anything but move my left hand up, right? Or move my left hand to the correct bass note. And so that's something I notice a lot of piano players, especially early on in the journey, that would be something that will improve their playing tremendously, right? So it's following the melody, keeping the melody note on top, and then readjusting all of the chords to the bottom. Let's look at another example of that. Let's look at And the Burden of My Heart. So with this, we have a D minor 7 chord, and I'm not playing D minor in root position, neither am I playing D minor in first inversion, right? Because the melody is nowhere there nor here. It's here, right? And the burden of my heart. So I'm going to keep that D minor in second inversion, and then I'm going to keep all of the notes that I want to play right below it, right? So here I want to play a D minor 7. Okay, now the next chord that I want to get to is a G. Let's look at a basic G, okay? G7 chord. Now what I'm doing there is, the only thing is I'm thinking about, okay, what notes are common within this chord and this chord? And I realize, okay, my D and F are common within both, right? So because the D and F are common within both D minor 7 and G7, the only thing I need to switch is the C and the A, right? And that helps me know which inversion to choose, okay? So in this particular instance, I'm going to the note or the chord inversion that's easiest to get to, okay? All right, so another thing that you can think about would be rootless voicings. Now, this was really fundamental in changing the way I played. So there are some things you're going to learn when you're learning the piano. They may be like transformative in adjusting your style altogether. And then there are some things that you're going to learn just cool ideas, but they don't adjust your style or the way you play. Understanding rootless voicings changed the way I play tremendously. So instead of playing, let's say, a D minor 7 chord like this in my left hand, I started to play my D minor 7 chords like this. And I'm saying D minor 7. And really, my chords shifted from becoming D minor 7s to really D minor 9s, okay? And so I often started playing my left hand voicings in, I would think of the chord as being in root position. I would remove the 1 or the root to the 9, okay? So that's how I thought about it. I'm thinking about the chord in root position, or actually it's not even in root position, but I'm thinking about the chord in root position. Then I'm adding the 7, then I'm adding the 9, and I'm removing the root, okay? That's very important. Then, after I figured out my first minor chord, right? A lot of times we move in 5s in music, so we'd move from D to G, all right? It's very common in this song, like, and the burdens of my heart, right? The only thing I have to do, once I've discovered this inversion, is I just move my 7 down a half step. And that gives me a G rootless chord, rootless inversion, okay? And here is a G add 9, or actually it's a G13 add 9, yeah. Or I don't really know how to spell it. Yeah, G13, that's what I'm gonna say, okay? So the only thing I've done is I've moved this C down to B. And so in my right hand, I'm going to play. And I got a lot of crunch going on in my left hand, okay? And so that right there was really fundamental in shaping the way I play. So it helps me a lot in terms of passing chords. So like in another section of this song, it was There by Faith. So it was there by faith. You'll notice in my left hand, what happened? It was the same concept where I play a G. I'm going from G, C to F. So I'm doing a bunch of 2 5 1s, and I'm playing my root G, my basic G minor chord. I'm adding the 7, I'm adding the 9, and then I'm removing the root, which is G. And then the only thing I'm doing to get to my C13 is I'm bringing this F down a half step, or my 7 down a half step. All right, so that last one really is just a bonus for you. All right, so let's review. First thing you want to think about is following the melody. That's going to be really crucial. You want your melody on top, and then you want everything to be beneath it, okay? That's really going to change. I think it's going to be transformative for you if you're already not doing it. And then you want to think about, okay, what's the easiest inversion for me to move to next? That's crucial, all right? That's going to help you not move your hand so far across the piano, like, all right? That's cool early on, but you want to grow away from that, all right? And then something that was transformative for me was rootless chords, rootless inversions, okay? That they changed the way I play, literally.